Since we're close to Halloween, I want to answer, is one of the most horror and scary sets in Magic the Gathering, was it actually worth it? In this video, I'll be going over some of the cards that came out in Duskmourn, talking about the plane, giving a little bit about it, not much really, but the main point is to see, was this set actually good or not when it comes to kind of Magic the Gathering in general. But before I go any further, a word from our sponsor, and again, yes, it's me with my Etsy store, trying to sell my beautiful t-shirts and hoodies with really cool designs. I just have a new one recently saying like legends only buy cardboard or legends are made to buy cardboard and stuff like that. They come in multiple colors and they come in multiple sizes, and it helps support the channel. So when it comes to Duskmourn, it is a horror filled plane. It's kind of like what seems to be a giant massive plane just based on horror tropes or like stuff from your nightmares, and it's supposed to be like a very scary place. There has been a few dark and scary planes, a lot to do with vampires and stuff like that, but this seemed to be the first ever horror nightmare plane that we have seen. This is also the first time we've ever been on this plane. And when it comes to this plane, there's a lot of references when it comes to characters and stuff from horror films and stuff like that. But what really makes this set worth it is the cards and the type of artworks and stuff like that. So that's what I'll be going over. When it comes to this plane, there was a cycle of very powerful kind of demon nightmare creature things that were terrifying. These cards were called
the Overlords.
These were a cycle of cards. If you don't know what a cycle is, it's pretty much one card of each color, all with impending as an ability, and then a really cool or powerful ability depending on which card and how you want to play it when it comes to it entering and it attacking. If you don't know any of these cards, they are
Overlord of the Mistmoors, Overlord of the Flupets, Overlord of the Balamerk, Overlord of the Boiler Bilges, Overlord of the Hauntwoods.
Straight off the bat, I think this is a really cool way to show pretty much kind of like that even if when they enter, or if you get rid of them, or when they attack, they are still powerful and scary creatures. I think starting off a set with a cycle of something is usually really good. The last one, in my opinion, that I can think of from the top of my head was the Dragon Lords, where there was a cycle of them as well. I did like that, and I do like when it comes to this that there is kind of a really cool and powerful card for each color or dual color or tricolor. Their abilities were really good to okay depending on which one. Some of them could be really bad in a deck, but in a different deck be really broken, and I really like them as a concept. But in this set, they also added a brand new enchantment type called
Rooms.
These work very weirdly or strangely. They're really cool idea, but the kind of more I learned about them, the kind of like not meh, but there was some kind of rules where I understand, but also kind of not like it. When it comes to rooms, you pretty much pay the mana of one of the sides or one of the halves, and then you play it and get that enchantment. Then when it's on the field, you're able to unlock the other room whenever you pay the mana. So realistically, it's two enchantments in one, which in my head sounded really good, especially the way some of them kind of worked together, and in some decks could be really powerful. I had an idea for putting a room in one or two of my decks, but then the more I learned about the rulings of them, the kind of less and less I liked them. I originally seen them as, cool, I have them two enchantments in my deck, I can put this in instead, or take a card out and put this in, and have two ways to activate 3 cards, or I could take the 2 cards out and just play the combined version and then have an extra spot to put an extra card in. One of the things I don't like is if you copy a room, it's kind of like both doors are locked. So if you go, I really like this, I've paid the mana for both, I'm then going to pay, we'll say 3 to 5 mana to copy my enchantment, both doors are locked and you have to repay the mana value to open them. I understand this because I say some of the rooms can be kind of broken, where it's if you had a really powerful one and you made a copy of it, you will then kind of for 3 mana have a really powerful enchantment. But I think there could have been a rule depending on, because it usually seems to be the left side is the weaker one, the right side is the stronger one, where if you copy it and you have the left side open, it opens and you get a copy, or if you have it locked, it opens, so you always have, we'll say, the left side, but that would be a weird rule to put in and way too kind of complicated. But if you've seen none of the rooms, here's a handful of them on screen now.
Dollmaker's shop, central elevator, mirror room, funeral room, unholy annex, charred foyer, walk-in closet.
My overall thoughts on rooms was, to be honest, really good. I do kind of like them. There is a bit messy when it comes to the ruling, but I hope in the future they continue on with rooms because I did find it to be quite a good mechanic. Now let's go on to my favorite thing when it comes to a set, the
Plainswalkers.
Now when I'm going to talk about these, I'm going to talk about the cards that were or are Plainswalkers. Because the whole Phyrexian War, a lot of people have lost their specs, a lot of Plainswalkers have not been Plainswalkers anymore, but still get cards. So when I say I'm talking about Plainswalkers, I'm on about the people that were and the people that were not Plainswalkers. So if you see a card and go, that's not a Plainswalker card, it means they were originally a Plainswalker. But when it comes to these, the cards I want to talk about are
the Wandering Rescuer, Tyver, the Pummeler, Nico, Light of Hope, Kato, Bane of Nightmares.
So starting off with the Wanderer, I'm kind of happy that they lost their spag. This is one of the very rare Plainswalkers I'm actually happy they lost their spag because they couldn't control it. They just kept splashing everywhere and going to different planes really, really fast. So the fact that they have the ability to still go to different planes because of the portals, but not being out of control with it is really good because it means then the Wanderer is able to kind of relax and you get to find out and learn hopefully more about the character. Tyvar, I'm not disappointed, but I'm also not happy either. It was quite a good Gilgari Plainswalker that was really good with elves and untapping abilities and stuff like that. They did get one or two cool cards, but it's kind of a shock because this was one of the newer Plainswalkers and they got rid of them. Then there's Nico. Nico is one I'm very disappointed in. Nico seemed to have a really good enchantment, white and blue Azorius Plainswalker with very cool powers and abilities, but they only got one Plainswalker card. But it does seem to be mainly a thing of that type of Plainswalker is hard for them to make different every single time. So they're like, it's easy to get rid of their powers because it means less work to be done. But yet, in my also opposite opinion, they keep releasing Sandras that just keep dealing damage. So I'm kind of like, do something cool and then stick with it. I did like the little mirror shards the Plainswalker card used to do. And I do find it to be a really cool kind of theme. But it seems to be Azorius doesn't really have a good Plainswalker. And then Kaito. This is, I think, the third or fourth Plainswalker card this person's got. And they've been released in 2 years, maybe 3. Time's irrelevant. But I do find Kaito to be a crowd favorite. I do think the abilities are really cool, especially with ninjutsu. And then the fact that it has the little robot raccoon thingy is also cool. I have no complaints about this card, and the card Plainswalker itself also seems really cool. And now I'm on to a section that I couldn't really think of because there was kind of like cards everywhere when I was looking them up and being like, I want to talk about that card, but there's no kind of area, so I'm calling it
Others.
These are just kind of your generic good cards that caught my eye that I think people would rather not really use or absolutely love. So I think a lot of these cards are just kind of good stuff when it comes to the ability, the card art, or the playability of it. And those cards are
Come Back Wrong, Mythic Massacre II, Valgavith, Terror Eater, The Rollercoaster Ride, Marina Vendrell, Nashi, Searcher in the Dark, Zimone, All Questioning, Marvin, Murderous Mimic, Valgavith's Lair.
Now, I say there is probably a lot of few cards that people are like, I really liked this one. If there's anything like that, let me know and I will do a short video on it because I do like to kind of do that type of stuff. So if there's any cards you think I missed out when it comes to the playing or really good abilities, let me know in the comments down below. And now we're going on to the lands.
New Cycle of Lands.
They added a new cycle of lands and to be honest, they're really strange. But before I go any further on that, the lands are
Blazemire Verge, Flute Farm Verge, Gloom Lake Verge, Hushwood Verge, Thornspire Verge.
I like these lands. They're good but also weird at the same time. I think this would be really cool if they do one thing and one thing only. I really hope, because when they usually do this, they do it in groups of 5, and then there's usually like the good, the bad lands and stuff like that. But this has a potential to be double that. You can remake these lands, but with the opposite kind of variation. So for example, if on this one it's white and then blue, you can make a blue and then white. So you have 20 variations that you can make with these lands. So if anyone from Wizards is watching this video, which 1, thank you, but 2, I think that would be a good thing for the future when it comes to these lands, that you're able to then go, here are the Duskmourn lands in reverse. So now when it comes to the set, I'm going to be talking about the different arts you could have gotten, because if you've noticed, I'm doing the base art. So let's start off with
Special Guest.
These are kind of old cards, or kind of, that's why they're called special guests, cards from previous sets and stuff like that, that are special just for the set. They come in a really cool full art design, and these cards look like
Damnation, Soul Warden, Expropriate, Maddening Hex, Noxious Revival.
These cards also come with a different set symbol from the set itself, so it's kind of a bit talking about them. However, I decided to throw them in. There is a few cards in here that I'm like, these are broken and shouldn't get a reprint. I don't mind them getting a reprint, but I can see a few people not happy that some of them got a reprint. Some of the art is absolutely amazing. Some of the art I think they could have done better, but I think as a concept as a whole, I think having special guest art is a good idea. However, I think it's a good idea if they go, here is the set and here is the special guest art. But Wizards being Wizards, or Hasbro putting pressure on Wizards, they go, there's this, and then this, and this. I think the special guest art is a bit too much now, for the fact that there is different variations of art. Talking about different variations of art, the next one is called
TV.
These are the ones that also got a secret layer. It is pretty much like a horror themed? It is pretty much a horror themed TV with a cool art on top. I do like this as a variation, especially because when I think of horror, I think of the big classics, and one of them being The Ring, of the girl coming out of the TV. This, when I see it, goes, this is a horror set straight off the bat. Or that horror film where the kid sits in front of the TV and the whole house goes weird. Can't remember the name of the film, so if you know that, let me know in the comments down below. But a few variations of this art are
Split Up, Marina Vendrill's Grimoire, Mythic Massacre II, Chainsaw, Omnivorous Flytrap, Valkovit's Lair.
They pretty much get cards from the set and then give them the TV treatment. I do like this, especially because the colours of the card are also the kind of colours of the TV. Now, don't get me wrong, I do find it not really difficult, but it's caught me off a few times between the red and the black cards, where I'm kind of like, they kind of, like, if I looked at them fast, could be like, that's a black card, and it's like, no, it's a red card, or vice versa. But I do think as a horror themed thing, this is one of the best ideas they could have done to do a special showcase for. But there's even more art they released. I don't know the official name of these, but I've been calling them
Dual Art.
The main reason I've been calling them dual arts is it just seems to be a black background with 2 colors on a card. And I do like the idea of the character kind of close up, kind of like the old kind of side portraits of a few cards we've had in like Commander and stuff, with a different item or something laid on top. Some of these cards are absolutely beautiful and breathtaking, and then some are okay too. I actually think 1 or 2 are bad. But if you haven't seen them, here are some on screen.
Kona, Rescue Beastie, Marvin, Murderous Mimic, The Swarm Weaver, The Wandering Rescuer, Winter, Misanthropic Guide.
I do like these, and I do like the concept of them. I do think this would be cool if you want to use one as a commander, so I thought it would have been better if it was just solely legendary creatures. And I do think that this is a really cool concept to do, but already the variations of special guests, the TV ones, and these, and then there's still more, is a bit too much in my personal opinion. Because they even done more, which I think personally they should not have done this, or they should have got rid of what I call the dual color ones and just put this. Like, I think having both is too much because it's the same art but in black and white or black and red. I think if they're going with horror theme, they should have rather done the weird and bizarre colors like the yellows and purples, or could have done this. But no, it's the same cards, or majority of them are the same cards in the same kind of design, and they just went, I'm going to change the color palette on them, which is a quick little like scale thing you just move. It takes like 30 seconds, and then they print loads more money for it. It's a genius idea on the business side, but I think too many variations of arts are coming in more of the sets.
Kato, Bane of Nightmares, Nico, Light of Hope, The Wandering Rescuer, Tyver, the Pummeler, Valguthith, Terror Eater.
Because there is the biggest money kind of grab in my personal opinion, and they are called what I call
fancy art.
Now in fairness, these are only the Overlords and the Enduring cards, which I didn't go over because I didn't actually think they were going to be that important. I do like the Enduring cards if you haven't seen them, but these come in two variations of arts. A really cool design where it's kind of the both of them, but then it comes in non-foil and sparkly foil, which is the most expensive cards in this set. If you haven't seen them, here they are on screen.
Overlord of the Mistmoors, Overlord of the Flupits, Overlord of the Balamerk, Overlord of the Boiler Bilges, Overlord of the Hauntwoods, Enduring Innocence, Enduring Curiosity, Enduring Tenacity, Enduring Courage, Enduring Vitality. Having
something like this when it comes to, we'll say, collector's pack, where it has the little sticker on it for like 1 out of 500, or a sparkly super pretty variation of a card is fine. I know that they need to get money to make more products and stuff like that. However, I do find that having it as a, we'll say, normal art is not the best idea. I think it kind of takes away a little bit, not much, from the super sparkly thing, because I can see a load of people that want them cards opening the non-variation of it and going, I don't care for this, or trying to get the sparkly version of it. If they do want to make the cards that are over 100 quid when it comes to this, just keep the sparkly version, because I think personally, and I could be wrong here, that if it was just the sparkly version, it would probably up the price when it comes to those cards. And then there's also, we'll say, the full art or variation of the rooms. A lot of the rooms got a full, beautiful piece that just is amazing. Then there is the borderless cards, and then just the cards in foil in general, and then a small little bunch of other cards as well. There is way too many variations of the cards as a whole with the different arts. But now the biggest question of them all, was this set actually worth it, or was this set actually good? And in my personal opinion is, overall, yes. I really liked the horror themed stuff. The cards were really good, especially with cards like Meat Hook Massacre 2, the Overlords and the Endurance and stuff. The rooms were a cool idea and a good try, and I did think they did good on that. Again, I don't expect them to be perfect every time. Trying new things out is good. It's how they usually try stuff out is where I have the problem. The Plainswalker selection, again, I have personal, I think Nika should have stayed a Plainswalker, but they're doing a 1 Plainswalker per set type of thing. But it's good to see old Plainswalkers that are not Plainswalkers anymore still in the set. As of recording this, I don't know the story, I have to look it up, but from the horror stuff and the card selection is really good. But people are going to know where my biggest kind of, not problem, but whim is when it comes to this set is there is too many different variations of artwork with different prices and people wanting different variations of them. Then they have thrown in special guest stuff as well, and then keeping like a small little selection of cards. I think there's like 5 in this weird little section that I don't know the name of. And then there's borderless and stuff like that, where it's cool, but it's kind of too much, and there has been a lot of people going, there is too much at very little times. Please. I've talked to people about sets and shown off artwork, and they're like, I remember that set, but I did not know you could get that variation of art, because it seems to be them going, Instead of 20 sets a year, there's now 20 sets a year with 20 sets of art, and people are just like, cool. So I do think overall the plane is amazing, the card selection's quite good. I think overall I would give this set a personal 8.6. If you think I'm right or wrong or anything like that, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the plane, what you think of the set, what grade would you give it, and what's your favourite card from the set. While you're down there, remember to like, subscribe and follow and all that YouTubey stuff we always ask and beg for. But if you like this video, I have my previous Magic the Gathering video here, a playlist of Magic the Gathering stuff here, and a subscribe button here, and hopefully I will see you all in the next video.